What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome back to the Madden 20 Ratings Prediction Series, where today we're going to be taking a look at the team that might have been pillaged worse than the Philadelphia Eagles by injuries last season, and that was the Atlanta Falcons, who, on paper, should have been really competitive in the NFC South, and then they just had way too many injuries to really keep up. Now, not to humble brag, but if you're a Falcon fan, and I only say this because, like, 2 years ago, Falcon fans were, like, the most toxic fans on the channel. If literally you take all the injuries that Atlanta had last season, that's what Philly went on to win the Super Bowl with. Maybe even, because obviously different variants. We lost our Matt Ryan, and Falcons lost their Matt Ryan. They would have been dead in the dust. But, in terms of impactful injuries, we still went on a run. Atlanta did not. But when all is said and done, man, I'm not, we take a little shot at the beginning of the video. I'm not a person that dislikes the Atlanta Falcons. I think that they're an exciting team to watch. And I'm obviously a big fan of Dan Quinn, Florida Gators. I got Keanu Neal, who I'm a big fan of, one of my favorite Florida Gators that is in the National Football League. I love Debo, Julio. I mean, how can you not like him? He's pretty much universally a liked wide receiver. So hopefully they can stay healthy, because I do like them, and I want Atlanta Falcon fans, at least the Falcons, to kind of shut up those super toxic, can't move on Saint fans for this upcoming season. So let's take a look here at my roster predictions. At quarterback, I'm giving Matt Ryan an 88 overall. Last season, 4,900 passing yards, 35 touchdowns to 7 picks. He's really good. Now, the topic of debate when it comes up to Matt Ryan is it the fact that he has 3 very good wide receivers, 2 elite wide receivers throwing room? Is that why his stats are so good? I think that definitely plays a part of it, but he's still a good quarterback, and as much as so many people like to slight him, I think that, it's not like you take an average quarterback, throw them in the Atlanta Falcons offense, and they're going to put up the same numbers Matt Ryan did. He is a talented quarterback. He is a former MVP, so I feel like 88 is a good starting point. He is between 5 and 10 in most quarterback rankings, and I feel like closer to 5, we'll pull him in 88. Statistically speaking, one of the better quarterbacks last year. Really good year. I mean, he almost had 5,000, almost quietly had 5,000 passing yards and 35 touchdowns to 7 picks. That's ridiculous. Going in the backfield, we have Devontae Freeman, who was banged up last season, but now is going to be the assumed lead back with Tevin Coleman going to the 49ers. I'll give him an 85. Basically, just looking at his body of work when he is healthy, he is debatably a fringe top 5 running back in the National Football League. I think his base rating when Madden closed last year was like an 87, 88. So we're going to regress that down to 85 here, just because, he's been banged up. We need to see him have some level of consistency in terms of availability, but I think that he'll be one of these prime contenders, I think, for fantasy football. Look to target him in your leagues, and for a big ratings upgrade through the early stages of Madden 20. Ito Smith, nice backup, 77. They got Kenyon Barner, great return man, 74. At wide receiver, we're going to give Julio Jones a 98 overall. Last season, 113 catches, almost 1,700 yards, and 8 touchdowns. The only reason why he's not getting a 99 is I'm going to hold him accountable for the lack of touchdowns. I had him in fantasy football. It was ridiculous how little touchdowns he got, be it the scheme, be it whatever. Till you get all those touchdowns, you're not getting that perfect 99, but still, debatably and unanimously in that top 3 wide receiver discussion between himself, Antonio Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins. Calvin Ridley had an exceptional rookie year, so we're going to give him an 81. Last season, 64 catches, 800 yards, and 10 touchdowns. I think we know where Julio's touchdowns went, but that is a very good combination. Then you got Mohamed Sanu in the slot. We're giving him an 80. He had 66 catches, almost 900 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Really good wide receiver core, top to bottom. At tight end, Austin Hooper's getting an 83 overall last season, 71 catches, 660 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just a really solid tight end. I mean, what do you expect now from Stanford? They just produce NFL caliber tight ends. I think, is he underrated? I don't really think he's underrated. He's just a good tight end. Not a great tight end. Might have 1 or 2 big games throughout the season that he kind of looks like a fringe elite tight end. But for the most part, he's just a solid tight end. Give you 60, 70 yards a game. Going to the offensive line, we got Jake Matthews, 81. James Carpenter coming over from the Jets, 73. Alex Mack, the 3rd best center according to Pro Football Focus in the league. He's getting an 89. Chris Lindstrom, the draft pick out of Boston College, getting a 74. And Caleb McGarry getting a 70, the lowest for the rookies, just because he was a surprise first-round pick. I feel like a little bit of a reach. I like him, though, as a prospect. He would have been one of those guys that the Falcons got him like the 2nd or 3rd round. I'd be here saying I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a starter. I just felt like it was a little bit of a reach given his draft stock. Going to the defensive side, we have Vic Beasley. We gave a 78 overall. 5 sacks, 7 TFLs. Very one-dimensional as a pass rusher, But, I mean, there's still a place for that in today's NFL, but just hasn't really lived up to the hype that he set when he wasn't the sack leader a couple years, like 15-some sacks, something crazy like that. Shout out to Steven Means, too. I think he, tore something. He's out for the year. He was really good with the Philadelphia Eagles when we had him. Going to the other side, we have Takkarist McKinley. We're giving him an 80 overall. Last season, Tack 7 sacks, 7 TFLs. So, his sophomore season was fairly strong. And now that looks like he got his mind right, had some of those off the field boogie-woogies. Should be good now, and he's got to be able to take his game to another level. They got Claiborne coming back, who kind of failed a little bit with the New England Patriots. Thank you. I'll never forget the time you sacked Dak Prescott a godly amount of times. In the inside, Grady Jarrett, he's getting an 88. I think that's what his rating finished at. We're just going to keep it as is. I think he was the top 5 Pro Football Focus D tackle. He's really, really good. I think did they just tag him? I don't think they worked out a long-term deal yet. That should be a priority. 6 sacks, 8 TFLs last year. He's very, very good. We have Jack Crawford, who actually had underrated a decent year. 6 sacks, 7 TFLs as well. Not too far off from the pace that Grady Jarrett's had. Clearly, there is a big skill gap here, but Crawford's still going to get a 78. Maybe that could be a tad bit low given his production last season. At outside linebacker, we have Alo Koon from Yale. He's getting a 72 overall. Filled in for just, because all the injuries they had. He had 91 tackles as a rookie. Wasn't too bad. Obviously, converted safety, so he has some nice cover traits. In the inside, Debo, we're keeping Deion Jones at 92. Yeah, he only played in 6 games last year. I think he is third best linebacker in the National Football League. Off the top of my head, I think he's the next man up after you talk about Kuechly and Bobby Wagner. I'm giving him a 92. Last year in 6 games, he had 53 tackles, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a sack. Debo's unbelievable. One of my favorite players in the National Football League. And is it a hot take saying that he's the third best linebacker in the National Football League? Tell me if you agree or disagree. Drake Campbell, right outside linebacker, getting an 80 last season, 94 tackles, 4 TFLs. He's just a solid linebacker. And the secondary, Desmond Trufant, had a down year. He was in the 40s or 50s for Pro Football Focus. No interceptions, only 12 pass breakups. So I think the game had him as an 89. So we're going to take him and give him a 4-point regression just because his stats last year was kind of dog shit, but still one of the best press corners in the National Football League. Statistically, may be able to put it all together again next year. It's really, really tough to rate everything back there because of all the injuries. Isaiah Oliver getting a 74. Free safety, KZ is a interesting guy because he was a nickel corner out of San Diego State. He played free safety when Alo went down to injury, and then he just came in and tied the league for interceptions. 7 picks, 10 pass breakups, 82 tackles. So while I do kind of feel like he's not as good as those stats indicate, you can't, if you're going to fluke your way into those stats, you're still going to get a generous day 1 grade in Madden 20. So I feel like 84 is going to be a starting point there. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if they're going to move him back to nickel corner, have Allen start, or vice versa, but they have a lot of depth there. And if they stay as is, hey, for your Madden 20 franchise modes, if you're looking to trade for a free safety, look no further than the Atlanta Falcons. And then jumping at strong safety, Keanu Neal. Banged up last year, just, again, unfortunately, the 2 players that I like the most on the Atlanta Falcons missed significant time, but I think he is the second coming of Cam Chancellor, and we're going to give him an 87, and he's gonna prove that rating when he can stay healthy. I think he'll if we're rating just pure strong safeties, definitely fringe top 5, if not top 5 in the National Football League. Special teams, no more. They lost their old man. They didn't re-sign Bryant, so they got Takavecchio there and Bosher as their punter. So there you go, guys. Those are my Madden 20 predictions for the Atlanta Falcons. As always, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. I think we did a pretty good job predicting these ratings. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.